This summer, footballers and fans will flock to Europe for the greatest soccer event on the planet. Their destination, Germany. The World Cup 2006 promises to be the biggest and best soccer showcase ever. Millions will flock to the state-of-the-art stadiums, billions will watch on TV. The planet will stop as the world's footballing elite go head-to-head for the most prestigious prize in the game. The 31 strongest teams taking their place alongside host Germany in the World Cup Finals 2006. And it will all kick off on the 9th of June in Munich and will end on the 9th of July, when the eyes of the world will focus on Berlin's historic Olympic Stadium for the biggest single event in the sporting calendar. In between, there'll be a month of explosive action played against the backdrop of some of Germany's most exciting cities. Later on in this programme, we'll be looking at Group D, but first let's look at Group C. In the group are Argentina. The South American giants have won the World Cup twice before, in 1978 and 1986. Although some years have passed since Argentina lifted the cup, they'll arrive in Germany among the favourites. Second in the group are African novices, the Ivory Coast. Les Elephants have impressed everyone with a strong qualifying campaign waged by some formidable players. Ranked number 3 in the world, this is a return to the very top of the game for the Netherlands. They last kicked a World Cup football in the semi-finals of France '98. And finally, Serbia and Montenegro. This strong team are no strangers to the ultimate soccer challenge. Formerly playing as Yugoslavia, they opened their World Cup account in the very first finals in 1930. They'll be looking to make history again by taking some high-profile scalps. Argentina have a great record in the World Cup, first winning it at home in 1978 and repeating the feat in 1986, when the mighty Maradona was at the peak of his prowess. Always among the favourites for any World Cup competition, the Argentine outfit boasts a galaxy of stars who are a threat to any team in the world. However, their 2002 campaign in Japan and South Korea ended in disaster, with the South Americans failing to progress beyond the group stage. Hoping to avenge that embarrassment this year, Jose Pekerman's squad will be travelling to Germany on a mission to make this their World Cup hat-trick.
Argentina are always among the favourites, but we know we have to stay calm because of what happened at the last World Cup. We can't let it happen again. We want to do things properly this time.
With so many passionate soccer nations in South America, the continent's qualifying group is one of the most punishing to get through. In a 2-year campaign, the teams play an exhausting 18 games. For Argentina, this epic battle saw them maintain an extraordinary 12-year run of unbeaten home games, and even the mighty Brazil were defeated in the River Plate Stadium. There was also an historic away win to Bolivia in La Paz. The last time Argentina won there was way back in 1974. Bizarrely enough, that was when they qualified for the last World Cup finals in Germany. The goals this time around came from Figueroa and Galletti, both of them not normally first-team players. Their top form an indication of how much talent coach Pekerman has in his squad. There were just 3 defeats to Ecuador, Paraguay and Brazil, and although Argentina emerged from the preliminaries second to the reigning world champions, they were only beaten on goal difference. However, surviving the gruelling qualifiers has proved to be just a minor hurdle on Argentina's way to their ultimate goal. They've drawn arguably the hardest group in the finals, the same unlucky break that they had back in 2002, and we already know that that campaign ended in shame.
Well, I think it's a difficult group, but there's never an easy group in the World Cup. Whichever team we play against, it's going to be hard. But I believe that the Argentine team is ready to face whatever comes along.
Currently ranked 4th in the world, Argentina are sending out an impressive squad to Germany. Jose Pekerman has an abundance of skillful players at his disposal. In the heady mix, he can draw on the experience of a number of World Cup veterans and call up some of the brightest young talent in the world today. And what a lineup it will be. At the front, firepower will be provided by Hernan Crespo. The 30-year-old made his debut back in 1995 and has played in 2 World Cup finals. Lethal around the penalty area, Crespo fired in the 2 shots that defeated Brazil in Buenos Aires and earned Argentina their passport to Germany. He was also the top scorer in the South American qualifiers. The midfield powerhouse will be Juan Riquelme, an attack-minded, technically gifted midfielder. He's also dangerous in dead ball situations. As well as supplying Crespo, he has a key right foot of his own and will be hoping to add to his international goal tally of 7. His all-round skill and playmaking ability impressed Pekerman enough to oust some of Argentina's more seasoned players in favour of the Villarreal star. Also in midfield is the precocious talent of Lionel Messi. Still only 18, he's already a seasoned player. The teenager made his debut at the top level for Barcelona when he was just 16. Admired by teammate Ronaldinho and national hero Maradona, he is the finished article. He has speed, inspired dribbling skills and extraordinary vision. Defences find him difficult and often impossible. The World Cup has seen some of the world's greatest players make an explosive impact, and Messi will be hoping to do the same in Germany.
Obviously, I realise that the World Cup is a great place to be noticed. Everyone wants to be a part of it. It's a dream. But the most important thing is the team. Whatever comes after that, I'm sure it'll be great.
Bringing a wealth of experience to the side is Juan Pablo Sorin, one of the world's most highly rated fullbacks. Now national team captain, Sorin made his international debut in 1995. With superb control and instinctive ability to read a game, he's effective at both ends of the pitch and has a tendency to tuck away crucial goals. With such a wealth of talent at his disposal, it's little wonder that coach Pekerman's side are among the pre-tournament favourites. Argentina can't afford to take their eye off the ball in the World Cup finals in Germany next summer. The quality of the opposition they'll face in the group stage alone means they'll have to be 100% focused. Despite the pressure, the whole of Argentina is gearing up to really enjoy this summer's dramas. There's plenty to be excited about. There's great clashes with the Ivory Coast and Serbia Montenegro in prospect. And what's more, there'll be a rerun of the 1978 World Cup final with the Netherlands in Frankfurt on the 21st of June. Despite the early trials, the coach is confident that his team will feature heavily in Germany.
Argentina are going to be one of the big teams at the World Cup, and we always have ambitions to do well, because at this level we are an important team.
Well, if I'm there, I want to be at the top, working hard, helping the team to be the best, and hopefully make it to the final.
The cosmopolitan city of Hamburg is the most northerly of all the World Cup 2006 venues. Nestled on Germany's North Sea coast, this historical city has grown up around its busy international harbour. The harbour has been welcoming traders from all over the world since the early part of the 10th century. However, come June the 10th, it will be fans from Argentina and the Ivory Coast who will be flocking to this vibrant city. Like so many German cities, Hamburg underwent major reconstruction in the middle of the 20th century, and visitors will be treated to a marriage of new and old architecture. Hamburg is also a great place to relax and boasts a lavish selection of couture boutiques, restaurants and high street shops. For those who prefer to leave the shopping to others, then a walk around the Old Town will reveal an insight into the city's colourful history and allow you to see some wonderful sculptures and statues. At night you can be sure that those celebrating victory will be heading to the Reeperbahn. This is where the Beatles came to hone their talents before taking the world by storm, and it's still the place where all the locals go for a good night out. HSV Hamburg play at the AOL Arena, and as one of the largest stadiums in Germany, it will be a fantastic venue for the 5 World Cup games that will be played here. Although the pitch is undergoing a bit of a tanning session, it's sure to be in great shape when the tournament kicks off in June. The small town of Gelsenkirchen lies in the Ruhr region of southwest Germany, nestled between Dortmund and Cologne. Gelsenkirchen dates back to the 12th century and rapidly industrialised in the 19th century with the discovery of large coal deposits. The discovery heralded an era of mass iron and steel production, which shaped this city into a thriving industrial heartland. Unfortunately, the last mine was closed in the late 90s, and Gelsenkirchen's small population now experiences one of the highest unemployment rates in Germany. However, as the heavy industry moved out of Gelsenkirchen, FC Schalke moved in. The impressive Veltins Arena was built in 2001 and represents a new generation of modern football theatres. The centrepiece is undoubtedly this remarkable retractable pitch. The playing surface spends most of its time outside the stadium to benefit from a shadow-free growing environment and is then moved back inside for match days. This massive 44,000-seat stadium is breathing new life into Gelsenkirchen, which will be sure to benefit from the 5 World Cup matches that are to be played here. The first of which will be on the opening day of the tournament, when Poland will take on Ecuador. The Ivory Coast are one of 4 first-time qualifiers from the Africa region. Les Elephants have little pedigree at the top of the world game. Their only notable achievement was winning the African Cup of Nations back in 1992. But now they have a lot more to celebrate.
It's a great moment because it's the first time for the country to be in the World Cup, and we got 2 years really difficult there in the country, and for them this was like the end of everything. I can't find a word to explain how it was after the qualification. I mean, still now they still celebrate it. I mean, so yeah, it's really important for the country and for the people there.
Having won 5 of their first 6 games, scoring 10 goals and conceding 3, the Ivory Coast are right on track to qualify for the World Cup finals in Germany. Against Benin, coach Henri Michel watched on as his side demonstrated the full force of their attacking prowess. Many of the Ivory Coast side are players who ply their trade in Europe's top leagues. This move, which led to Paris Saint-Germain's Bonaventure Kalou scoring the opener, is a clear message that this is a team to be reckoned with. Another of their star attackers, Chelsea's Didier Drogba, was next to put his name on the score sheet. This penalty was one of 9 goals he scored in the qualification campaign. And the Ivory Coast fans will be hoping he can take this form to Germany in the summer. Les Elephants continue to dominate and show how great they are at going forward. But the big question is whether their all-out attacking style will work against the more organised and experienced teams from Europe and South America. Certainly in this game, the relentless offensive play was rewarded when Drogba netted again, securing a 3-0 win to the delight of the home support. Sitting firmly on top of their qualification group, their next opponents, Egypt, were to prove a tougher test. Arunadin Dane, who plays for Lyon, tried again and again to break the deadlock. But it was that man Didier Drogba who finally opened the Ivory Coast's account. It was soon 2 when Drogba unleashed an unstoppable shot into the bottom corner, silencing the critics who said he saved his best performances for Chelsea and the Premier League. However, a late Egyptian charge showed that the Ivory Coast strengths extend to the back too. Arsenal's Kolo Touré and Tunisian-based keeper Jean-Jacques Tizé showed the team's credentials. Other players to look out for in this talented attacking side are Aruna Dindane of Lyon, Aruna Kone of Dutch side Roda, Didier Zakora of Saint Etienne, Bakary Kone of Nice, and Guy Demal of Hamburg. There's certainly enough star performers for the African team to be considered a real threat to the major teams in world football. The Ivory Coast needed to beat arch rivals Cameroon in their final home match to assure qualification. But the only chances came from Les Olifants. Drogba was denied a couple of times by good goalkeeping and tight defending. Samuel Eto'o then fired a warning to the Ivory Coast. And next, Achille Webo gave Cameroon the lead. Didier Drogba then latched onto Aruna's pass. But a lapse in defending saw Achille Webo grab the lead for Cameroon against the run of play and silence the home crowd. But not for long. Drogba came back showing his talent with a wonderful free kick. Followed by an outrageous attempt to emulate Marco van Basten. Achille Webo completed his hat-trick, putting Cameroon firmly in the driving seat for qualification. But the Ivory Coast didn't give up.
We lost the both game against Cameroon. That was important too, but we didn't play well. But with luck, we get qualified for the World Cup.
The fate of yet another team went down to the final game, and Henri Michel's side stood up to the next test against Sudan. Despite a goal disallowed for offside, and Kolo Touré heading just over, Les Olifants took an early lead through this Kanga Akale strike. The second half saw the Ivory Coast turn on the style, terrorising their opponent's defence with some great attacking play. Aruna Dindane finally scored to make it 2-0. But Sudan would not give up and were proving to be a real test to the Ivory Coast defence. Dindane showed why he'll be a player to watch at the World Cup finals with his second of the match. As Sudan was scoring a consolation penalty, Cameroon were missing one of their own, therefore assuring Ivory Coast's first ever World Cup finals appearance. With qualification assured, the Ivory Coast took on Italy in a friendly, a real test of their credentials against top-quality European opposition. It was a fiery clash of cultures. And Les Olifants more than held their own, showing their strength and outstanding attacking play. Didier Drogba was on target again. But the celebrations were short-lived, with Diana equalising for Italy.
I think this is important for us to be there, just to learn. I think we got good team, we got quality, and I think we just go to the World Cup to show people then Ivory Coast has a football team with great player and try to do the best.
Located in the Baden-Württemberg region of southwest Germany, Stuttgart is one of the most opulent World Cup 2006 host cities. In fact, it's one of the richest cities in all of Germany, which is reflected in the palatial surroundings, expansive parks and decadent city squares. Stuttgart is host to several wine festivals every year, and this is bound to ensure that fans attending the 6 World Cup matches in the city will be in fine voice. The extensive indoor market here is also likely to be popular with the visiting supporters. You can find foods here from all over the world, and it's a good alternative to the pricier restaurants. Stuttgart is also home to Mercedes-Benz. One of their largest factories is based here, as well as their prestigious Museum of Mercedes-Benz. The first match to be played at the impressive Gottlieb Daimler Stadium will be France versus Switzerland on the 13th of June. There will also be 3 further group matches here, featuring the Netherlands, Spain and Croatia. The 54,000-seater stadium will also host a quarter-final as well as the third-place playoff match. This will be the first World Cup finals for the team formerly known as the Yugoslav Republic, who have been playing under their new country name, Serbia and Montenegro, since 2003. The name may be new, but the players and the people are no strangers to top-level football. Yugoslavia made their mark on World Cup competition at the inaugural finals way back in 1930, charging all the way through to the semi-finals only to be knocked out by eventual winners Uruguay. In the intervening 75 years, Yugoslavia made it to another 6 finals, most recently appearing in France '98, but defeat by the Netherlands sent them home. Although the side haven't appeared in a major tournament since Euro 2000, Serbia and Montenegro have qualified for this summer's football feast in some style. Having drawn one of the toughest groups of the European preliminaries, which included Spain and Belgium, the Balkan side mounted a campaign that made the rest of the world sit up and take notice. Coach Ilija Petković joined the team after Serbia and Montenegro failed to qualify for Euro 2004. A former international himself, the biggest impact Petković has made on the team has been the defence. Since he took over as national coach, Serbia and Montenegro haven't lost a game. In their impressive World Cup qualifying campaign, they kept no less than 7 out of 7 clean sheets, leading them to a vital clash with Iberian heavyweight Spain that would determine the vital question of who would finish top of the group. In front of a packed house at the Vicente Calderón Stadium in Madrid, home side Spain took first blood. Xavi Hernandez set up golden by Raúl in the first half. At half-time, the home fans were hoping it would be enough for Spain to secure their place in Germany. Then Atletico Madrid striker Mattia Kezman, perhaps feeling at home in his club stadium, scored the vital equaliser. Serbia and Montenegro's unbeaten record was extended. That draw was enough to push Serbia and Montenegro into a 2-point lead and take Spain to a playoff. The table shows what an impressive campaign the Balkan team mounted. Just that 1 goal from Raúl conceded in 10 games, with an impressive goal tally from their own strikers. Serbia and Montenegro may be shock winners of that group, but the statistics only go to show that this squad is packed with some high-class talent. A lot will be expected of the man whose goal booked their place in Germany, Mattia Kezman. Fast with an instinct for goal, the centre-forward made his international debut in 2000. Although he's never experienced playing in the World Cup finals, he's no stranger to top-level club soccer, having played for some of Europe's biggest teams. A spell at PSV Eindhoven was followed by a season with current English Premiership champions Chelsea. He now plies his trade for Atletico Madrid in Spain's La Liga. Veteran international Savo Milosevic has earned the most caps for his country, and he's also their record goal scorer. It's also fair to say that at the moment Serbia and Montenegro have Europe's strongest defensive line, and their impressive record is due in no small part to their goalkeeper, Dragoslav Djurvic. Being one of only 7 finalists who were undefeated in qualifying, The experience of the finals might prove a little tough for Serbia and Montenegro. Ranked 47 in the world, a position that perhaps doesn't do justice to their recent form, they're notoriously strong, but luck has brought them one of the hardest draws in what has been dubbed the Group of Death. While the Ivory Coast have no World Cup experience to draw on, they are one of the toughest teams ever to come out of Africa and will prove a tricky hurdle. But the real pressure comes from World Cup giants Argentina and the Netherlands. Getting through to the last 16 will mean knocking one of these teams out, and on paper at least, that's a very big ask. However, coach Ilya Petrovic is taking a pragmatic view. Unfazed by the draw, he believes their opponents will be intimidated by their great qualifying record and sees no reason why they shouldn't advance beyond the group stages. It's a baptism of fire for Serbia and Montenegro. They meet the Netherlands in Leipzig on June the 11th. But who knows, a win in that game could set them on their way to a big upset. Whatever happens, the 6 matches to be played in this group promise to be among the most explosive of the whole competition. Since reunification, a wind of change has been sweeping through the former East German city of Leipzig. Like much of the former East, Leipzig has been witness to a flurry of activity and development as they try to catch up with the West after 45 years of communist control. In the last 15 years, the city has seen dramatic change, and with the introduction of Western traits, shopping centres and global brands have descended upon Leipzig. Much work is also being done in preparation for the World Cup finals, as the population of 500,000 ready themselves for hordes of visiting supporters. Remnants from Leipzig's communist past are everywhere, and many buildings still lie derelict, with their owners never returning from the Second World War. Further reminders of Leipzig's rich history are abundant. Richard Wagner lived in Leipzig and wrote many of his finest works here. Leipzig was also home to Johann Sebastian Bach. His influence is still felt in the city, and it seems almost impossible to walk down the street without musical accompaniment. On the outskirts of town lies the Zentralstadion. Newly constructed, the stadium cost €90 million and was a joint development between private investors and the people of Leipzig. It's hoped that the 38,000-seater stadium will attract thousands of supporters to the city and help further its continuing redevelopment. 5 matches will be played here, featuring the Netherlands, France, Spain and Iran. The stadium will also host a last 16 game between the winner of Group C and the runner-up in Group D. The skyline of the modern high-tech city of Frankfurt is dominated by office blocks and skyscrapers. Frankfurt is the financial hub of Germany and is also home to the European Central Bank. In fact, 83,000 people in Frankfurt work in banking. A large proportion of Frankfurt's population comes from outside Germany. This gives rise to a culturally diverse feel to the city, and there are many film theatres, exhibitions and fairs to reflect this. Most of the old town was destroyed by bombing in the Second World War. However, enough remains to give an impression of what Frankfurt was like before the skyscrapers went up. The new Waldstadion has been built specifically for the World Cup, with €126 million being lavished on this magnificent arena. This 44,000-seat stadium is home to Eintracht Frankfurt of the Bundesliga. In June, thousands of supporters will be descending upon Frankfurt for the 4 group games and quarter-final which will be played here. The first match will see England take on Paraguay on the 10th of June, And other teams to play here will be South Korea, Portugal, and a crunch game between Argentina and the Netherlands. Traditionally so rich in football talent and the birthplace of total football, the Netherlands have never quite managed to win the game's greatest prize, losing narrowly in back-to-back finals in the 70s. A new era is underway for the Dutch. Legendary striker Marco van Basten has been entrusted to build a new-look side for the future.
The people back in Holland also had big expectations of the qualifying group, but in the back of their mind they thought, oh, maybe when they have new players it will not be in the beginning as good as we hoped.
We play with very young players, and that's a good thing. So we are fresh and we want to learn something new.
We started with a whole new team. A lot of players stopped after Euro 2004 in Portugal because of the age, and so you have to build a new team, and it worked out fine.
Drawn in a very tough qualifying group, Van Basten's new look side began their campaign in the Amsterdam Arena against the Czech Republic. A tough opener for Van Basten against the team who would prove to be the main challengers for automatic qualification to the finals. A partisan and expectant Dutch crowd welcomed the men in orange, curious to see how the new look national team would perform. They weren't to be disappointed. The Netherlands stamped their authority on proceedings and eased to a 2-0 victory, courtesy of 2 Pierre van Hooijdonk goals. His first came from a Wesley Sneijder pass after an excellent move, and his second from a Dirk Kuyt cross. Justification of Van Basten's team selection, blending youth with experience. Not only was the Dutch qualification blemish-free, they also had time to play a high-profile friendly against next year's hosts and close rivals, Germany. Chelsea's Arjen Robben announced his star potential on the world stage with a great performance and 2 fantastic individual goals. Surely he'll be a player to watch in the finals this summer. But it's Marco van Basten who's getting the plaudits for transforming a Dutch team which failed to qualify 4 years ago.
He was the greatest striker in his years. His knowledge and how he trained us, our training sessions, it's fantastic.
I think he's got quite a good influence in the team. You know, he's young. He's got his own vision of football, and you know, it's quite fresh. And everyone loves to see the team now playing.
Always what he is saying. If you're here, keep in the back of your mind you're a great player. So go on the pitch. You have my confidence, and show us what you can. So yeah, that helps a lot.
Romania were also on the end of a Dutch masterclass, this time in Rotterdam. It was that man Arjen Robben who put them on their way with a classy finish. Followed by a second from finals rising star Dirk Kuyt. A harmonious Dutch camp could see the Netherlands challenging Germany this summer.
Arjen Robben, Ruud van Nistelrooy, they can make the difference in the game.
Van der Sar, Philip Cocu, they are really experienced and they can read the game. And when you have to mix with a lot of youngsters who have a lot of skills, you have something to go further on.
The march towards qualification continued for the Dutch, with Robben again leading the way. They'll have to perform in Germany if they're to fulfil their promise. But it was another of Van Basten's young players who opened the scoring, Hamburg's Rafael van der Vaart with this outrageous chip. A gift from Andorra's defence made it 2. Then a simple tap-in for Ruud van Nistelrooy, his 5th in the campaign. While Robben was again causing havoc. Van Nistelrooy wrapped up an emphatic 4-0 win by getting on the end of Arsenal star Robin van Persie's free kick. Qualification was finally assured by winning in Prague against the Czech Republic. But even though Van Basten had guided them to an unbeaten qualification campaign, the players were keen to play down the chances of success in Germany.
We have to be honest. We are not so far like teams like Brazil and Argentina, and we have a lot of work to do. But we have enough quality.
If we want to be of any importance, we have to improve our football. But it's still 8 months to go to the World Cup.
Any football tournament, and particularly World Cups, are great opportunities for fans from all over the planet to wear their colours and show their loyalty. None are more colourful or loyal than the Orange Army that follow Marco van Basten's Netherlands team wherever they play. Whenever the Dutch team arrive in a country, you can be sure that their halls of fans are there already, painting everything a bright shade of orange as they bring their own particular brand of street party to town. Then, having partied all day, later in the evening they converge on stadiums and create an orange wall of noise that urges forward their heroes on the pitch. It's a wonderful asset for any team to have. There'll be a brilliant spectacle at Germany 2006, and they'll be at their most noisy and colourful best when the Netherlands first step out onto the pitch in Leipzig on June 11th. The Dutch fans' party mood soon turned sour as a lacklustre display against Macedonia in Amsterdam raised further doubts about their chances at this year's finals. Despite glimmers of skill and attacking flair, this was not a performance that suggested the Netherlands could seriously challenge for the World Cup.
We play better against the Germanys, Czech Republic, that sort of teams, than the smaller teams. And I don't know how it is. Maybe concentration, but yeah, we have to work that out how we're gonna play against those teams.
Another fancied country, Italy, were the Netherlands' next test, and they were to inflict a first defeat on Van Basten's team since the Euro 2004 semi-final. Things started well for the Dutch. Another youngster, Ryan Babel, pouncing on Dirk Kuyt's deflected shot, but it was all Italy after that. First Gilardino equalised. Then an own goal from Ron Vlaar put Italy in front. Italy's star striker Luca Toni compounded the misery by scoring a third. Italy's convincing win highlighted the defensive frailties of Marco van Basten's side and inflicted a huge dent in the confidence of this young team.
It was friendly, but when you lose, it's never a good feeling. But yeah, Italy always has a good side, so and do well on championships.
With self-assurance draining from the Dutch team, the World Cup draw was unkind to them, putting them in perhaps the toughest group.
Argentina was the favourite in the group, because for me they are one of the favourites to win the World Cup. Ivory Coast is, I think, in the moment the best team in Africa, and Serbia Montenegro had a perfect qualification as well. They just conceded one goal and they kept in front of Spain, so they have to have a good squad. So I think it's going to be open which two teams will go to the next round.
Every man's dream when you go to a World Cup is to become world champion. And that's what we want to achieve.
I think we've got the quality, but also it depends on luck. If you got your right strategy to play the other countries.
We lost one game now in 17 games, so yeah, the feeling is good, and we must grow into the tournament now.
They have a great deal of talent, and if you are willing and able to work for each other, you have better possibilities.
In '98, in 2000, 2004, we reached the semi-finals, and hopefully we can go on further this year.
Munich is the capital of the Bavaria region. 1.5 million people live here and is one of the wealthiest German cities. Aside from being a home to high-tech industry, Munich is a very popular tourist destination and will be particularly busy in the World Cup months of June and July. The city boasts a collection of world-class museums, theatres and parks. It was also home to many famous artists, such as Kandinsky, Strauss and Ibsen. Munich's lavish Maximilianstrasse is the place to see and be seen. Its countless designer boutiques and expensive restaurants are exclusively frequented by an ever-growing contingent of Germany's rich and famous who choose to call Munich home. Munich is a very traditional city, and this is reflected wherever you go. The Hofbrauhaus is the most popular of Munich's many beer halls. Staff still wear traditional costumes and serve traditional Bavarian beers. Completed in late 2005, the futuristic Allianz Arena has replaced the old Olympic Stadium. The 66,000-seater stadium will host 6 World Cup games in total. It will also be witness to the opening ceremony on the 9th of June as Germany take on Costa Rica. Group D, which kicks off in Nuremberg on the 11th of June, where Mexico meet Iran. Mexico are a footballing nation with a good pedigree. Having hosted the World Cup twice and reached the finals no less than 12 times, they're no strangers to this competition. Iran have previously appeared in just 2 World Cups, but have only ever won 1 game, famously against the USA in 1998. But with at least 6 members of the squad earning their living in Europe, the Iranians feel they have assembled the best side in their history. Angola are one of 4 African countries making their debut appearance at the World Cup finals. Surprise winners of a very tough qualifying group, they denied the mighty Nigeria their place in Germany. It's a signal that these underdogs are determined to make some headlines. And finally, Portugal. It's almost unbelievable that a country so renowned for the quality of its footballers has only ever qualified for the World Cup finals twice in the 40 years since famously finishing 3rd in 1966. Mexico have long been established in the upper echelons of football's world rankings, yet they continue to flatter to deceive whenever they arrive at a World Cup. The 2-time hosts have never ventured further than the quarter-finals, a stage they've reached on 2 occasions, both on home soil, and they've become notoriously poor in Europe. Mexico's trip to Germany this summer will see them try to get rid of their reputation as underachievers, as they look to successfully negotiate the group stages for only the 2nd time in Europe. And the Mexicans will come into the competition in good form after a strong showing in last season's Confederations Cup and a comfortable qualifying campaign. Of the teams in the Central American region, only the USA mounted the challenge to Mexico's supremacy, eventually, and a little surprisingly, pipping the Mexicans to top spot. However, it was Ricardo Lavolpe's Mexico who made the strongest start to qualifying, and a run of fine performances set the pace in Central American qualifying.
In the beginning, we did very well, playing and winning important matches away from home. At the end, we felt more relaxed, having qualified earlier than we'd expected.
Mexico kicked off their campaign with matches against their 2 closest rivals, Costa Rica and the USA. It was in Costa Rica that they began their route to Germany in explosive fashion, as they rushed into a 2-goal lead. Jaime Lozano netted twice within the first 10 minutes. First with a free kick, and then with a stunning diving header. And although Paulo Wanchop's goal set nerves jangling, Mexico hung on to go into the USA game full of confidence. More than 100,000 fans had crammed into the Azteca Stadium to watch Mexico take on arch rivals USA, and the vast majority would leave happy. The USA had never won in the rarefied air of the Azteca, and the Mexicans lived up to the form book when Jared Borghetti nodded in from close range. And just 2 minutes after Borghetti had opened the scoring, Zinner made it 2 when he calmly put the finishing touches to a good move. The US made a fight of it in the second half, with Eddie Lewis seeing 1 shot saved before he netted a consolation goal. With 2 games played, and both against their closest rivals, Mexico were looking good with maximum points. However, the Mexicans faltered and struggled to a 1-1 draw in their next game against Panama before getting back on track with 3 consecutive 2-0 triumphs. The first was in Guatemala before this game against Trinidad and Tobago. Jared Borghetti netted the opener before Luis Perez wrapped things up in the dying minutes. Costa Rica were the next team to be put to the sword at the Azteca, as Borghetti and Fonseca's goals gave El Tricolor their third 2-0 victory on the trot. Mexico would find themselves on the wrong end of a 2-0 scoreline when they were beaten in the return match against the USA, but would immediately bounce back with a 5-0 thrashing of Panama to seal their passage to Germany. With qualifications safely secured, the Mexicans were looking to celebrate when Guatemala arrived in town. Despite conceding an early goal, the Mexicans refused to let Guatemala spoil the party, and Guillermo Franco soon levelled. But the evening would belong to one man, Jose Fonseca, as he bagged 4 goals as Mexico ran out 5-2 winners and got the qualification party started. With their ticket to Germany booked and with a wealth of emerging talent, the Mexicans can begin to look forward to finally fulfilling their potential. The Mexicans' success has relied on an attacking brand of flowing football which saw them net 67 times in qualifying, more than any other team. The main contributors to that tally were their 3 amigos, Jared Borghetti, Francisco Jose Fonseca and Jaime Lozano, who netted 35 goals between them. Borghetti's individual tally of 14 saw him crowned qualifications top scorer in any region, and that goal haul also saw him become his country's record scorer. And his predatory instincts and quick feet will be keeping defenders on their toes in Group D. Now playing his club football in England with Bolton Wanderers, Borghetti became the first Mexican to play in the top flight of English football, and his partnership with the less experienced Jose Fonseca promises to be one of the most explosive on view at the World Cup. Fonseca has become the darling of Mexican football after making an immediate impact on the international stage since debuting in 2004. With 10 goals in Mexico's successful qualifying campaign, Fonseca has quickly become a fan's favourite and is one of the big stars of the Mexican National League, where he plays for Cruz Azul. Equally at home on the right-hand side of midfield as he is as a striker, Fonseca's lethal finishing will be hoping to propel his country into the latter stages of the World Cup. With 11 goals in qualifying, midfielder Jaime Lozano ably supported his strikers on the goal-scoring front. A creative midfielder, Lozano is also a threat from set pieces, as he illustrated against Costa Rica. With Jared Borghetti in front of him and Rafael Marquez playing behind him, this attacking midfielder is part of a very strong backbone that runs through the Mexican lineup. Whilst Lozano, Fonseca and Borghetti are terrorising defences at one end, Rafael Marquez is organising one of his own. The defensive linchpin and Barcelona star is one of the most consistent performances in Spain's La Liga and is now the captain of his country. Having proven himself in Europe, Mexico's influential skipper is looking forward to making a name for himself on the world stage.
I hope I'll be able to do something important for the team and do a good job.
With a potent attack and a stubborn defence, this could be the year that Mexico shake off their also-rans tag and emerge from a tricky group as a true footballing force.
The 3 teams are difficult. Portugal play very well and are also one of the favourites. The other 2 are perhaps not as strong, but nevertheless are teams that are improving. The African teams are always strong, and they've been doing quite well. Mexico has never done any better than reach the last 8. We want to get beyond that and reach the semi-finals, or go even further. The team is very good, and we have the right mentality to succeed.
And with the world ranking inside the top 10, Mexican players and fans alike are full of expectation for El Tricolor.
They have big expectations for the team and for this selection. We have shown that we can do interesting things, and the Mexican people are hopeful that we can do more than we did in the last World Cup.
Like
the people in Mexico, we're also really excited and very motivated to have a good World Cup and to succeed. I think that Mexico has grown a lot in the last few years, and we hope that we can show that in this World Cup.
After Munich, Nuremberg is the second largest city in Bavaria. Historically, Nuremberg was one of Europe's most important and culturally privileged cities. It was the unofficial capital of the Holy Roman Empire and residence to many German kings. Nuremberg was also home to the famous artist Albrecht Dürer, who was one of the founding fathers of the German Renaissance movement. The medieval Altstadt had to be almost completely restored following the Second World War. Now returned to its former glory, its many cafes, bars and restaurants are sure to be popular with visiting support. Home to FC Nuremberg of the Bundesliga, the Frankenstadion has been completely redeveloped for the 2006 World Cup. The total cost of the stadium's renovation is estimated at €56 million. The 44,000-seat stadium will host 5 games during the tournament and will stage its first match on the 11th of June, when Mexico take on Iran. Iran have a short World Cup history. They've only made it to the finals twice, the first time in Argentina in 1978, when they went home after the first round without winning a game. Their next campaign came in France 98. This time they did record a victory with a sweet win over the USA, but Germany ended Iran's party with a 2-0 defeat in the next game, and the Asian side were once more on their way home without getting out of the group stages. The World Cup misery was compounded 4 years later when the 3-time champions of Asia failed to get through to the 2002 finals on their home continent.
We played well, and towards the last few days, went down to the last few games, and the result was we couldn't progress. But however, with a different training routine, the Iranian Federation officials think we can progress more easily in the World Cup than previously.
Croatian Branko Ivankovic has nurtured a squad packed with youth and experience, who set their sights on making it to the World Cup finals, which they did with a game to spare. The comfortable qualifying campaign was helped in no small part by the experience of Iran's 6 European-based players. Among them Vahid Hashemian, who has come out of self-imposed exile to travel to the finals, and former Asian Player of the Year, Ali Karimi. Although Iran will be able to count on the brilliance of these individuals, their strongest weapon is probably their solid team spirit.
Football is a team game, and I don't think a player can do it all on his own. The players who play in Europe are good and can help all of the players in the team. But we also have some very talented young players in Iran who I think will help our progress.
And that future began with their successful qualifying campaign. Although it started slowly with a 0-0 draw against Bahrain, Iran soon found their feet. Japan are one of the most successful teams in Asia and were always going to be the biggest hurdle in the preliminaries for Iran. But it was Iran who drew first blood, Hashemian showing why he is so vital to his team. Japan equalised thanks to this strike from Takashi Fukunishi in the 33rd minute. The massive crowd of 110,000 spectators was the biggest in the whole qualification campaign. Although they weren't treated to the most entertaining match, they were nevertheless pleased with the result when Iran finished Japan off with half an hour to go. It was Hashemian again who found the back of the net. They got the better of the 2002 hosts, but it hadn't been easy.
We were in a tough group. I think our hardest game was against Japan in Tehran. And we got the result even though we didn't play well. However, our aim was just to get to the World Cup. And that's what happened.
Qualification was secured with a string of solid games. In March 2005, North Korea felt the full impact of Iran's attacking force, getting beaten 2-0 at home. Mehdi Mardavikia scored in the first half. And Javad Nekunar made it 2 in the second. Having earned 7 points from just 3 matches, it was clear Iran had every chance of getting to their third World Cup. Next up for the Persian team was a rematch with North Korea. This time a 1-0 victory on home soil was enough to continue the Iranians' run of good results. They had nearly done enough to ensure qualification. And the dream became a reality after this home win over Bahrain. Mohammad Nosrati's goal secured Iran's ticket to Germany with a game in hand. So even though Iran lost that last game to Japan, it didn't matter. Although the cruise to qualification was due to Iran's strong sense of camaraderie and team effort, they do boast some very fine players who ply their trade in Europe's top teams. They call Bayern Munich's Ali Karimi the Asian Maradona. A regular in the Bundesliga team, he was named Asian Footballer of the Year in 2004. His playmaking skills will be something to look out for when Iran begin their World Cup campaign. Ali Daei is the world's all-time leading goal scorer in international football and is widely regarded to be the finest Asian striker of all time. With a remarkable 109 goals to his name and 147 caps, Daei's experience will be needed by his Iranian teammates this summer. Daei is now playing his football in his homeland for Seba Battery after a successful spell in Europe. Another Iranian export to Germany is Vahid Hashemian. After arriving in Germany at Bayern Munich, the striker now plays for Hannover. Hashemian is a direct striker who excelled in qualifying and is in pole position to lead Iran's attack when Al Daei retires. Another player to look out for is Mehdi Mardavikia. He's comfortable as both a winger or as a fullback. Mardavikia is one of the biggest stars of Asian football and will be hoping to enhance his reputation during the summer. Although well known in Germany due to his performances for Hamburg, Mardavikia will be hoping to spring a few surprises with Iran. All this experience of playing in Germany will be invaluable to Iran, whose draw landed them in Group D. That will mean they meet an intriguing gathering of teams representing 4 continents and 4 distinct footballing styles.
The group we've fallen into isn't an easy one. I think Portugal and Mexico will be stronger than Angola. And I think we'll have hard games against both these teams. We'll do our best and I hope we can progress through the group stage, but it's going to be very difficult.
Cologne is Germany's oldest city and lies in the middle of the country about 65 kilometres east of the Netherlands. Built on the banks of the Rhine, Cologne is regarded as the engine of the German economy. Large-scale industrial development is commonplace in this region. Cologne is well connected and many other World Cup 2006 venues are within easy reach using the cheap rail service. The Romans founded Cologne in 50 BC, and although largely destroyed in the Second World War, many historical landmarks still remain. None are more impressive than the imposing Gothic cathedral. The cathedral dominates the skyline of Cologne and attracts thousands of visitors each year. The riverbank area of the city is packed with cafes and eateries, all of which will be bristling with supporters in June. The Rhine Energy Stadium will host 5 World Cup matches. Home to FC Cologne, this 40,000-seat stadium also hosted games during the 1988 European Championship. In anticipation of the 2006 World Cup, the stadium was redeveloped at a cost of €110 million. The first match to be played here will be Angola versus Portugal on Sunday the 11th of June. Angola are one of 4 African countries making their debut appearance at the World Cup finals. Not well known as a footballing nation, their only forays onto the world stage have been 2 appearances at the African Cup of Nations finals. At the start of this, their 6th World Cup campaign, it looked unlikely that Angola would break into soccer's top flight. Getting drawn in the qualification group that included the mighty Nigeria, with only 1 place in the World Cup finals up for grabs, almost everyone wrote off Angola's chances before the campaign even began. However, under the hugely popular and inspirational coach, Luis Oliveira Goncalves, Angola became the hot team of the group. Almost impenetrable at home, they put together a string of great away results too, making the unthinkable become a real possibility.
Everybody was thinking that, of course, Nigeria was the big favorite in this group. And in Africa is difficult because only one team goes through it. But we play very well. We can get a good result in Nigeria, and we beat them at home. And I think the team and the players they start to believe that they can do it. And this was the positive thing. They give everything what they have, and now we are there in the World Cup.
There's been some bitter years in Angola. Gaining independence from Portugal was followed by 27 years of civil war. Violence and political turbulence dominated the country. But now it's soccer that's making the headlines, and Angola's success on the football pitch is a symbol of the country's new sense of optimism for the future.
The fact of the war is finished in Angola. People start to believe that Angola have potential, and to be in the World Cup, I think, is the best way to show the world how is our country, you know, which kind of good things we got there, and I think this is the right way.
The team certainly put on a show for their fans to be proud of. Throughout the campaign they were unbeaten at home, but the crowning glory was beating Nigeria on their own soil. On their return leg in Kano, Angola proved they were more than a match for Nigeria, holding them to a draw. These two results would prove crucial at the end of the campaign. Angola were only defeated once in the preliminaries at the hands of Zimbabwe. Nigeria were having an equally good campaign. The decision as to who would grab that one and only place in Germany went down to the last game. For Angola, that meant a visit to Rwanda. At this point, Angola and Nigeria were tied on points, but Angola had the edge due to their better head-to-head record. A win in Rwanda would secure their place in Germany, regardless of Nigeria's result. This was possibly the most important match in Angola's history, and Goncalves and his men weren't taking any chances. Before the game, they visited Portugal to get some experience in matches against Boa Vista and Benfica, and they brought 300 fans with them to give them the boost of some support in this crucial match.
Rwanda was the last in the group, and they don't have nothing to win, you know, in that game. And I feel a little bit the team was a little bit nervous because they know we have to win. There is no other result can help us, and it was a little bit difficult to handle because only in the last 10 minutes we scored the goal.
There were some tense times for the nervous fans. Although Rwanda were at the bottom of their qualifying group, Angola just didn't seem to hit the target. In fact, it was the home side who came closest with several attempts, even hitting the crossbar. But Angola's fortunes changed when substitute Z Kalanga made the all-important breakthrough for his nation. In the 80th minute of the game, his great cross set up captain Fabrice Acquah to head in the winner. When the final whistle went, the fans and coach burst into celebration, while some of the players, including goalscorer Acquah, couldn't quite take in the enormity of what they'd achieved. Nigeria were looking to make it to their 4th World Cup in a row, but that last-gasp goal from Acquah sealed Angola's fate.
Acquah is one of the best players. He's our forward, he's a striker. I think he was the guy that brings us to the World Cup, you know, because at the most important moments he was there to decide the games. You know, most of the players they play not in the first leagues. You know, we have a few players they play second league in Portugal. We have another players they play in Angola first league. As professionals, nobody wants to go there and lose, you know. And of course, we want to go there and try to make the best results. That perhaps we get the points to go to the next step from the World Cup. And I think this will be a big thing for Angola.
There are very strong ties between Angola and Portugal, and it was a bizarre twist of fate that saw them drawn together in the same World Cup group. The match will certainly be the highlight of Angola's early campaign. The two teams will meet in their opening match on the 11th of June in Cologne. It will be a baptism of fire for the African nation as they come up against Figo and co. Hannover is one of Germany's 10 largest cities. It's a busy international trade centre, which is also famed for its tranquil surroundings, baroque gardens, modern art, museums and fine entertainment. Like much of Germany, the streets of Hannover are peppered with cafes and bars. They're sure to be packed to the rafters when fans from all over the world will descend on Hannover for the matches that are to be played here. The Niedersachsen Stadium was completed in 1954, is home to Hannover 96 of the Bundesliga and was used during the 1974 World Cup. €64 million has been invested in modernising and refurbishing the stadium in preparation for the finals in 2006. It now boasts an all-seater 40,000 capacity. It's a very compact stadium which promises a great atmosphere for the 5 matches that will be played here. Games featuring Italy, Mexico, Croatia and South Korea will all feature, as well as one of the quarter-finals. The first time Portugal went to the World Cup finals was in England in 1966. The debutants, inspired by the legendary Eusebio, had a dream tournament, making it all the way to the semis. It's astonishing that since then the soccer-passionate Portuguese have only appeared in 2 other World Cup finals, in 1986 and 2002. On both those occasions they were on their way home after the first round. But pundits are tipping Portugal as hot contenders this summer. That's because they have a simply stunning team.
It was a massive thing to get qualified for the World Cup, and of course when the national team plays over there, it's a massive thing for all the Portuguese people, you know.
Luis Figo is back in the squad. The inspirational captain retired in the summer of 2003, but responded to the call to return for this World Cup. Cristiano Ronaldo's qualifying display showed that the tricky winger is at the top of his game. So is Pauleta. The super striker hit the target 11 times in the preliminaries, and in the process he surpassed Eusebio's Portuguese strike record of 41 goals. And to cap it all, the man at the helm is none other than Luis Felipe Scolari. Having already won 1 World Cup with Brazil in 2002, Big Phil is a proven winner, and under his tutelage Portugal have blossomed into a world-class outfit. It's fair to say Portugal simply dominated their World Cup qualification group. Russia were dispatched 7-1, a total of 11 goals were put past Luxembourg, and Estonia were on the end of this 4-0 drubbing. All the goals coming in the last 15 minutes. First to hit the target was Cristiano Ronaldo. Helder Postiga took the second. Pauleta notched up another in the 86th minute. And to cap it off, Postiga scored the second in injury time. Then, after 9 unbeaten games, their trip to Germany was confirmed with a victory over Liechtenstein. Benjamin Fischer embarrassed the home team in the first half. Faces went even redder when Figo blazed this penalty over. Then natural order was restored, initially through Pauleta. And then decisively via Nuno Gomes with 5 minutes to spare. Another piece of history was made in the final group match against Latvia, when Pauleta broke Eusebio's all-time scoring record with 2 goals in 2 minutes. The demolition job was finished in style by Hugo Viana just before the final whistle. It was a fitting end to a stunning qualifying campaign that saw Portugal cruise through their group. The hopes of the nation rides on a squad chock-a-block with international talent. One of the most famous Portuguese faces belongs to legendary captain Luís Figo. Figo will be hoping to erase the painful memories of being one of Portugal's underachieving golden generation. One of the few players in the world who have had spells at both Barcelona and Real Madrid, the exceptional midfielder has earned a host of accolades in his long career. The 2000 European Footballer of the Year and 2001 World Player of the Year, Figo will be feeling it's about time he added some international honours to the list of titles he's gained at club level. Although he's in the twilight of his career, the captain is still a crucial element to the Portuguese team.
Ele tem comando sobre seus companheiros.
He has a great command of the other players. And he has something very important that not all the players have. He has anticipation of the game. And that's something that the new players don't have.
Ele participa, estando bem ou estando mal.
One of those new players is Cristiano Ronaldo. The Manchester United star is the golden boy of Portuguese football and has a hugely impressive record at international level in spite of his tender age. Scolari employs Ronaldo in a free role, which allows him to exhibit his huge repertoire of extravagant skills. However, he's not all about twists and turns, as Ronaldo also knows where the goal is and is a surprisingly good header of the ball. Then there's the prolific Pauletta. Averaging more than a goal every 2 games, Pauletta has a strike rate to be proud of. The Paris Saint-Germain star relies on his predatory instincts around the box, and if Portugal do well in Germany, expect Pauletta to be amongst the competition's top scorers.
Pelas características do Pauletta, ele é jogador fundamental.
Pauletta is a player with amazing characteristics. He's a key player for the team. We are a team that works as a whole. And when the team does well, it's because all the players do their part within the team. I can't say that because there were other selections in Portugal that were fantastic. For instance, the one in 1966. The one for this year has great opportunities to do well in the World Cup. There are 32 other teams and the competition is hard. The dream is not enough. But you never know, we might be the big surprise of this World Cup.
Certainly there's a strong sense of optimism in the side that suggests this could be the team to end Portugal's World Cup drought.
Portugal right now is a mix of young and experienced players. The youngers have a lot of quality and we have a strong group. So if the competition starts well for us, I think after the first group, you never know where we can arrive.
It's not really surprising that with so much quality available to Scolari, this team are being compared to the great side that made the World Cup final in 1966.